Hey guys, welcome back to the Open Chess Anime Podcast with your host, the Anime Collector. And joining me from Iowa, the Eyeball Man.
From Iowa. All right.
The Eyeball Man.
Dox me all you want.
From the right stuff state.
Yeah, there we go.
And you're supposed to hand it off?
Oh, I'm supposed to hand it off. I thought you always did that for me.
I know.
See, this is why we start with... Yeah, that's why you're supposed to put me next. I know how to segue.
And then from not the right stuff country, Putnam, and our other fellow co-host, Donjo Boagi.
The birthday boy.
With this to say, and also the name of this episode is Magical Panties Paradise.
Magical Panty Paradise, but yeah, okay.
Oh,
I can
so
only
how's
use that
everyone
as
doing
the
today?
thumbnail once. So, like, we've already blown that wad if you want to just... Oh, God. I've had a week. You guys want to hear about my week?
Not really, but you want to say
Not really.
I don't really
I'll
want to
tell
talk
you about
about
my
it. So if you guys want to, if you want to just jump in, that's fine with me.
heard you had a headache, though.
All right, so Open Chess Anime Podcast has a Patreon. I don't think you guys have ever heard about it or read about it in speech bubbles before. Also,
Oh, yeah, add an additional... Oh, there we go. 20. Oh.
Did he cuck himself last podcast?
He did, but he adjusted the count. So
Oh, he did. He was very,
Yeah, it should
he
be
was
good.
very conscientious
Yeah.
about that. I appreciate that, AC.
How
You're a
was
nice
your-
guy.
very considerate.
How's your week, AC?
it's all because of you guys.
There we go.
All right, I need the screen share.
Uh,
And screen share.
Is he
You
even
got the
connected?
controls. You don't let us
or is
have
this on my end?
Each and every one of you has the ability to screen share. Don't give me that bullshit. Also, there's the Anime Collector
I can
Patreon.
screen share, but I don't have the permissions to show.
All right, so I took one of the designs down from Stealth Weeb, the Unknown Detective Pikachu shirt, because it is available on the official Pokemon Center store or whatever. So if you guys want to get it, go ahead and get it there. Also, I can't actually make new designs right now. The entirety, I thought it was just the one thing that I was trying to make that I was talking to you guys about behind the scenes, but actually everything that is a bitch to fulfill, they're like, no, can't make anymore. Can't design any new products. Also, I'm echoing pretty hardcore on one of your guys's thank you. All right. Jumping in. Funimation licenses Super...
Heroes.
I think it was... No, it's pronounced... HxEros?
Heroes.
It's HxEros or something. Here. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I need to pull up the whole thing. I'm trying the fan while I wait. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's HxEros. HxEros. All right. So we talked about this in the past. It's called Dokyu Hentai. Damn it, that's the wrong thing. There. Dokyu Hentai Heroes or whatever. Right?
It has hentai in the title, and they license it.
So the title, not only the title, but in the, I feel like he's got the fucking flame on his dick. On the in the trailer, it goes, "Hero is made up of H and Eros," right? So yeah, Funimation licensed it, and according to here, don't be shocked if they cancel it, right? Because as people pointed out in the comments. Oh, by the way, I figured out how to fix the problem with the mouse.
How do you fix it?
You disconnect it.
Oh, that's a good solution.
If the mouse doesn't work, kill it.
Except that now the track. Oh, well, that's weird. Okay. I'm not even going to go into the trouble of explaining what just happened, but all right. Okay, so in the things here, so remind us again, God damn it, who I'm gonna mute you guys. I'm gonna mute you one at a time so I figured out who it is. It is Reese. Okay, it says, so remind us again, what did Ishizoku reviewers do to not be within Funimation standards compared to this? Shinmai Mao, High School did, I think that's supposed to be DxD, Sekirei, Berserk, Ikitosen, Senran Kagura, and many others, right? And then this person's like, Interspecies Reviewers Part 2, The War Upon Ecchi. You just going to cancel this too? Giving this series of a max of one episode before seeing the good old, we determine the series falls outside of our standards, blah, blah. Anyway, so yeah, that was the sentiment, the general sentiment from people.
But technically, Aniplex of America has licensed it. Funimation is just streaming it.
Yeah, but they'll cancel it on their service.
But both of those are owned by Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where things get kind of whatever.
But did Sony fund this one? Or I should say Aniplex, I guess, in Japan.
So Tokyo Revengers live action film pushed back because of COVID-19. I'm so happy. It's the only COVID news here.
Yay.
This and this. Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel 3 Spring Song anime film finishes the war on August 15th. So it's done being delayed. We can finally see the terrible conclusion to this awful trilogy. All right. Kyoto Animation starts recruiting.
We're just going to cut you out.
There we go.
Kyoto
I
Animation.
meant to hit remove, but I hit solo layout.
Kyoto Animation starts recruiting again. So they're recruiting for animators, 3D CG staff, managers, systems engineers, and more. They announced on Tuesday that they're accepting applications again for different positions for both fixed-term and year-round employment periods. The anime studio had postponed recruiting for the 2021 fiscal year due to the spread of the new coronavirus disease. The studio is accepting applications for animators, managers, and system engineers for both fixed-term and year-round periods. It is also accepting general affairs personnel for year-round periods. Only for year-round periods. And 3D CG positions, modeling, rigging, effects, animation production, only for fixed-term periods. The studio is also accepting applications for enrollment for it and its Animation Do sister studio's training program. The course will run from October 3rd, 2020 to September 25th, 2021. As before, it's open to high school graduates who are 18 to 25 years old. And then this is partially why I'm bothering to read this whole thing. I want to point out that, again, Anime News Network chooses to phrase this way. On July 18th last year, a devastating fire broke out at Kyoto Animation Studio 1 building. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it totally was natural causes, not like...
A total of 70 people were inside the building at the time. The fire killed 36 people and injured 33 others. In addition to those victims, a man in his 40s on his way to work in the area suffered minor injuries from smoke.
Oh my God.
You know, if this wasn't nationally known, if it wasn't nationally known, okay, but since it's like nationally known, and even you had an interview, AC, somewhere that mentioned this and you talked about it, I think it's kind of obvious what event they're talking about.
So the thing here is that, as they say here, Kyoto Prefectural Police apprehended the then 41-year-old suspect who allegedly used gasoline to start the fire.
What would they call it? An arsonist apologist?
They are investigating the case as arson. Now, never mind the fact that the arsonist said, yeah, I lit the fire. Yeah, I did that and all those things. But this is the amazing way that the Anime News Network chooses to, that guy, he's allegedly an arsonist. But Vic Mignogna, he's a rapist, right?
Oh, my God.
So great job there, Anime News Network, for your protecting the identity and, reputation of the guy who admitted to, trying to murder all those people and all that stuff.
It's almost as if for this story, they were trying to retain their news integrity of not having a bias in such a way that removed bias so much that it added a bias.
Yeah. All right. Continuing here. Continuing here, crowdfunded World End Economica anime shares its first full promo. So we're in Kickstarter news now. So the anime will not cover every episode of the World End Economica visual novels, mostly focusing on the end of the first, along with episode 2 and some of episode 3. So we talked about this when it was a Kickstarter campaign. And I believe, if I recall correctly, that the Kickstarter campaign wasn't actually to make a anime. It was to make a promotional thingy to shop around to other studios to build a production committee, right, for the anime, right, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you can watch it. It looks decent enough, except that it's made by a company that I think has only ever been doing commercials. So maybe they're not equipped for the full thing. I don't know. I kind of forgot this was a thing. Anyway, continuing. Adult Swim Con to deliver info on Uzumaki anime and other Toonami projects. The event is planned for July 23rd to 25th. It's free.
Cool.
And it seems just about as boring as all the other cons you do over the internet.
Anime Lockdown was awesome because of disco panels, not boring.
I don't know, because the Twitch thing where they streamed it to didn't archive any of the stuff for longer than like 10 to 15 seconds, so I didn't get to watch any of it. Tsutomu's Ojisan wa Kawaii Mono ga Osuki comedy manga gets TV drama adaptation. So this is definitely the thing that needs to go into live action for sure, right? Not anime or anything like that, because that would be silly to adapt this into an anime instead of just having a guy carry around a stuffed animal pretending it's a real live dog. All right. So I shared this last podcast, but Reese, you weren't here, and I thought that it would be insensitive to not have you included in the discussion of Condom Battler Goro. So we're going to cover it now. Japanese condoms now have their own anime, Condom Battler Goro. Superhero characters promote safe sex in new anime series. When you want to get people's attention in Japan, or pretty much anywhere really, all you have to do is spruce up your message with some eye-catching anime characters. It's a marketing ploy we've seen on a number of occasions, used to promote everything from chocolate to Apple products and even the Japan Self-Defense Forces. Now, Japan's leading condom manufacturer, Okamoto Industries, is using the power of anime to help educate the masses on the importance of safe sex. And they're going balls to the wall. I thought they were going to say they're going balls deep for their campaign.
I thought you that sounds better.
Yeah. They're going balls deep with their campaign as they've released 4 episodes of a 56-part series.
Oh, Jesus
wow.
Christ.
starring new anime superhero Condom Battler Goro. And I think somebody in our last podcast represented or pointed out that the 56 represents Go and Roku or Goro, right?
Yeah.
I think that was Seb.
Is it actually going to be 56 parts, or is it just embracing the meme?
So they're the episodes are only like a minute long.
No.
So I think that it could be 56 episodes.
I hope it is, because you'd have basically a feature film at that point on.
I know, right?
Come on, Discotheque, do us a solid. Come on, Discotheque.
24-year-old
Filmworks is more likely going to get this.
Oh, they're going to butcher the shit out of that release, though. 24-year-old Goro was separated from his father when he was young and raised by his mother and grandfather in a small village town. His condom of preference is the 0.01. I like how he's got the like Yu-Gi-Oh-esque, like
the pose in his fingers.
Like I said,
well, not only that,
but
like
the 2000s pseudo anime style.
He has a condom disc.
Yeah. joining condom battler Goro on his epic adventures to educate people on the importance of wearing condoms and how to use them, is a cast of characters who share his passion for rubbers. Goro's childhood friend Miku, also 24, is a popular girl who once had a crush on Goro, but gave up on him after he failed to realize she was interested. She was initially against Goro becoming a condom battler due to the fact that her older brother, once a condom battler himself, was forced to retire after suffering an injury.
God.
Her weak point is her speed at equipping condoms, which she's able to cover up by using ribbon pull style condoms.
Oof.
Seb says separated from his father in a condom, to which I say no, clung to his father in a condom.
So question, why does he want to spread the condom awareness so badly? Is it because he's like a self-admitted mistake that he was born? So he's like, please
maybe he has AIDS?
Oh, come on. Obviously, the bad guy is the STD gang.
All right. So 24-year-old Hayato is Goro's best pal. And this guy's hair gets longer and longer.
So kind of like Rio in Shaman King, huh?
No, not like Rio and Shaman King. A little different from Rio and Shaman King. 24-year-old Hayato is Goro's best pal. He tends to get carried away easily, but he's good at taking care of people. When Goro had just become a condom battler, Hayato was happy in his position as a battle commentary character. But after being inspired by Goro's efforts, he decided to get his condom license as well.
Oh, boy.
Hayato uses a very thick type of condom, but no one needs to guess why, because it's a big boy condom. While Okamoto Industries describes condom battler, I mean, I hope they don't make small boy condoms. Tiny child boy condoms.
Oh, AC, this sounds like a Magnum situation.
While Okamoto Industries describes Condom Battler Goro as a 56-episode series, they say they're only releasing episodes 1, 19, 45, and 56 for now. The very first episode, The Birth of Condom Battler Goro, introduces us to the cast while also revealing the origin story behind our superhero. His first magical transformation into Condom Battler Goro comes when he touches a condom for the first time. After finding Okamoto's 0.01 variety by the side of a footpath. Like a fucking condom in the stone. Our superhero then encounters...
It's in 4x3.
Our superhero then encounters a condom hunter. It's kind of funny because, like... Oh, God. Okay, so our superhero then encounters a condom hunter whose rubber sheath is torn due to the fact that he's put 2 condoms on at once. Hayato explains that this is the wrong way to use them, and after Goro intervenes, victory is claimed over a potentially dangerous incident. So you can watch the first episode, To Be Condom, right, instead of To Be Continued. The story hilariously ends with To Be Condom instead of To Be Continued, as the threat of another foe looms in the darkness. Fast forward to episode 19, and we have our trio sitting for the professional condom license test, and the survival test commences. The foe in this episode is No Condom Leo, who criticizes Goro for being so fast to put his sheath on straight away. However, after entering the forest of sexually transmitted diseases, Leo meets his demise. With the moral of the story being, don't leave it too late to put on a condom, as you can contract an STD even upon contact.
Oh, jeez.
In episode 45, Condom Championship Tournament opening, Goro,
Oh my god. That freaking stadium.
I know it's a condom. It looks like a rubber nipple.
Goro,
Oh,
Goro steps up to the plate
Could that
after
be a
Miku
lady
is
condom?
defeated by Moisturizing Demon. By Moisturizing Demon, Shitori Hattori. Moist Hattori. Goro breaks out a special move called Dream Emission to defeat the enemy, which is moisturized hands. As the oil from hand moisturizer can damage condoms. Oh god. That's why you're supposed to use water-based lubricant with condoms instead of oil-based, by the way. If you're having sex. Audience. The final episode is Farewell, Beloved Goro, where our hero comes up against the last boss, Condom Master, who turns out to be, spoiler alert, Goro's father.
Oh god.
This Star Wars-esque turn of fate comes with a twist, as Goro's father, long thought to be dead, tells his son that he always used the condom during condom battles, except during an important moment, one day, 25 years prior, when Goro was created. The epic climax to Condom Battler Goro ends with our hero reaching a new understanding that one day he too will part with the condom, but only when that important moment comes. The final episode signs off with the next skin, with the text skin instead of fin
Oh god.
on the screen, bringing to a close one of the fastest climaxes to a 56-part anime series we've ever witnessed. While Okamoto is yet to reveal whether or not they'll be adding more episodes in the future, Goro and his friends have certainly brought our attention to condoms in a way that sparked our interest. Now all we need is for the Japanese government to distribute free condom battler sheaths like they did with the Sailor Moon condom handouts late last year.
What?
All right. So, yeah, you don't remember those? I think we
I
talked about
remember
that.
those. We talked about them.
Yeah, they're in like the
Like
little
3
heart-shaped
articles.
STI, prevention of sexually transmitted infections. You don't remember these?
I guess
I
not.
remember them.
All right. So there's also I decided to share this so you could get a couple more like images of it, because that's how they roll at Sankaku Complex. This is him when he's 24 in the first episode. I think that's the what do they call him? No Condom Leo or whatever. That's the guy with the hand cream.
No, we reference to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. The white-haired guy is either a reference to Bakura or
Also,
white-haired guy in
Where's the white
here's
hair?
this.
You mean Crowler?
no, that guy either Bakura or someone from Beyblade.
Okay.
Well, the other guy looks like Crowler from GX.
Yeah, that's what.
So his dad is like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, here's the hair.
We all know how that ended.
Here's the hair. Going way off.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that head's getting a reboot.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good time.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
All right, so there you go. That's our amazing discussion of Condom Battler Goro. TokuSHOUTsu announces July 11th premiere for Kamen Rider Heisei Generations Forever. It looks kind of weird. I'm not going to lie. Some of the characters are pretty out there.
They all look like bugs.
I lost the ability to scroll. There it goes.
Kill the mouse. There we go.
All right. So in censorship news. Graham Linehan was banned from Twitter for saying men aren't women, which is something that
Science supports.
I mean, if you are a man, that already makes you a man and not.
Megan Murphy also got. They suspended feminist and journalist Megan Murphy for making the simple tweet that read "Men aren't women." Right. So this was the purge of a lot of people recently. YouTube shadow banned and link jacked BitChute links. So if you comment and put a link to BitChute, they query BitChute URLs and redirect them back to YouTube. So that's shitty.
Yeah.
American Renaissance was banned from YouTube for quote-unquote hate speech. Stefan Molyneux was banned from YouTube for quote-unquote hate speech.
Really?
I don't know who he is.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Twitch suspended Donald Trump's channel for quote hateful conduct. This all happened on the same day, by the way. All of this stuff.
Okay.
Which is exactly what happened when Alex Jones got banned off of every platform on the same day, right? And
okay.
you start with the people that are acceptable to ban, and then you work your way up to the little people, so till there's no one left on your site. Reddit banned the Donald subreddit for harassment, manipulation, disrupting the site. It's funny, I just talked about the Donald in the last podcast about how, like, I don't even know if it's still there because I haven't seen it in a while, right? And the thing is that they had quarantined it because they were putting such oppressive rules that they had to, in order to obey the rules, they had to suppress, they had to private the subreddit and make it so that only approved posters could post things. That all had to go through the moderators, and then they just banned it outright anyway. Furthermore, New Project 2 is shutting down after being blacklisted and banned by MasterCard. So the Patreon alternative started by Dick Masterson is now gone. This is, again, a form of economic censorship to stop people from doing things you don't like.
What about other methods of payment aside from MasterCard? Did they follow?
No, the whole thing went down.
Okay.
Because I believe PayPal had already banned Dick Masterson and all those other like the thing is there's a make your own platform. So you do, but then it's like you have to use the payment processors. You have to make your own payment processor, and that's kind of impossible, right? So unless he switched over to like a Bitcoin, it's not gonna come back.
Then Bitcoin bans him.
Well, Bitcoin can't ban him. That's why. That's the beauty of Bitcoin.
That's a joke.
Yeah. So, continuing, Viacom banned 5 episodes of South Park from streaming deal with HBO Max. So,
Right.
I feel like I said all this shit last podcast, right? I love how Raging Golden Eagle calls it HBO Min and Disney Minus.
Yeah.
Anyway. Continuing, I talked about this last podcast as well. Record of Lodoss War author concerned works will be banned after Community Blackface Dark Elf episode was pulled from Netflix.
I mean, is his elf in Lodos pulling blackface?
So
No,
he doesn't understand. This was a tweet. Having read the news, he doesn't quite understand what blackface is. But the thing is that he's not wrong in being concerned, because they absolutely would ban him for something as trivial as making the elf characters dark, because the dark elves are the evil elves, right?
Oh.
And that's hurtful to black people, according to white people who are offended on their behalf.
Yeah, it's almost like that card in Magic that destroys all black creatures, despite that being like demons and all these evil things.
Yeah. Amazing that the word games you can play with just colors. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Record of Lodoss War author and creator Ryo Mizuno has expressed concerns that his work may be banned after the Dark Elf episode of Community was removed from Netflix due to blackface. Literally the funniest joke in the whole show. as well. So that sucks. Mizuno stated today on Twitter that Netflix had removed a series or episode seemingly due to featuring, quote, a dark elf. This made him concerned that if the depiction of evil characters with dark skin is deemed wrong, his own works might eventually get banned. So, Ryan Pearson uses Google Translate, which is not the best way to translate Japanese. So bear with me here. I saw the topic on TL, which I think is my timeline, that Dark Elf appeared in Netflix was deleted. So I checked the source, but the Dark Elf itself was not deleted because it was discriminatory. Except black people, it seems that it became a problem that the characters of the race had blackened their faces to dress up as Dark Elves, even though Chang is Asian.
Yeah, that's funny.
However, in the future, there is a possibility that it will be discriminated against as black type equals evil, not limited to dark elves. There may be a future where all my books will be banned. While gathering accurate information, I will pay attention to future trends. So, Clownfish TV talked about this, and they had mentioned that the Klingon race, or was it Klingons? Not Klingons. Maybe Klingons. Klingons are dark, right? There was the race they were talking about was like straight up black, like black, like Chang is black in that photo. By the way, I love this. In the comments here, somebody said that's a really sexy dark elf. Can I get a picture of that by itself? To which the author posted.
Still lost with blackface being offensive. I get like back in the way early days, it was because people of that color couldn't get Academy Awards. I get that, but now they have
that's
like,
not
awards.
why.
But I don't know why now.
That's not it at all. Let me keep reading. Let me keep reading here before you get into that, because I think they're going to address some of it. Okay. Looking through what Mizuno retweeted, it appears the banned content in question was an episode of the U.S. comedy series Community. In the aftermath of the protests and riots after the death of George Floyd, Netflix has been removing episodes of TV series featuring characters seemingly in blackface. So, forget all of these. One of them was The Office. One of them was Community. One of them was It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It was the last one. Oh, right. A bunch of British stuff. So, Little Britain, Come Fly With Me, The Mighty Boosh, all of these are gone.
Like the entire show, or just like a select?
I think the entire show for a lot of those, actually. So they pulled the Community episode due to the blackface scene. Literally the funniest moment in the whole show. The Office blackface scene was edited out. Netflix removes It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia over blackface scenes. They're Danny Glover face scenes, right?
Like they removed the whole show?
No, they removed the episode. Anyway. All right. So for the Office one, they just cut out the clip where Dwight's assistant guy it's the Belsnickel episode where he's German Santa. And he has an elf companion that's supposed to be like an African, and the guy is in complete blackface during the thing. Anyway, this even includes context where a character is not attempting to be in blackface to mock those of African descent, the joke being the character is oblivious to how they look or making the character appear more bizarre. For example, the banned Community episode, Seb asks if Tropic Thunder is on Netflix. I don't know.
I will look.
But you know what? I looked up the this thing, and they were talking about this before it aired, all the way back when, about the episode being offensive or some shit. Even though everybody thought it was funny and nobody cared back then, NBC was all like in hot water about it.
It is not on Netflix.
Okay. So, for example, the banned Community episode features the characters playing Dungeons and Dragons. One of the characters attempted to dress as their dark elf character, albeit in normal work clothes, with a white wig and jet black skin, oblivious to how he may appear. Hilarious? Does this look like any black people that you know?
No.
No.
But yeah, his like
It is
enthusiasm
a sexy dark elf.
kind of sells it.
Making it more extremely literal, maybe,
I'm a
but
dark
not real
elf.
people.
It's the proper term is drow.
Oh, sorry,
Okay,
being
so-
racist there.
Yeah. It also should be mentioned that blackface typically features large white or red lips painted on and around the mouth, along with being disheveled to imply poverty and inappropriate behavior to imply loose morals, little self-discipline, or drunkenness. So that's the difference between that's the minstrel show versus the thing that you were saying, Augie, about them not getting Academy Awards or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a completely different. That's the Oscars so white thing from a couple of years ago. In most fiction, dark elves are typically depicted with black or tan skin, or even surreal colors such as purple or blue. These elves typically utilize forbidden or dark magic and have societies with outright evil morals as the norm, or atypical to most cultures of that fantasy world. In Dungeons and Dragons tabletop games, dark elves, or drow, are typically evil, with a society deep underground, the Underdark, that praises the use of violence and deception to succeed in life. As entire races are given alignments on two scales of lawful to chaotic and good to evil, drow are typically neutral evil. This means they are usually self-serving at the intentional detriment to others. However, there have been those that do not fit into that alignment, such as the heroic drow Drizzt Do-Urden. I'm not even going to try to figure out that was pronounced correctly. While evil can be a tangible force within the Dungeons and Dragons settings, and endless debates in the flaws of the alignment system, Wizards of the Coast recently announced they would be changing drow and orcs, another evil race. In future publications, Wizards of the Coast say they will be, quote, just as morally and culturally complex as other people, to avoid how the fictional races are, quote, painfully reminiscent of how real-world ethnic groups have been and continue to be denigrated to some.
And that's Wizards of the Coast admitting that they're the ones who think of black people in that light.
Like, this announcement was even shown to Mizuno on Twitter, which he later retweeted. So, like, yeah. So you make people or like a fictional race that is like pure evil, blah, 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 blah. And there's like, then the people say, that's racist to black people. I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you think black people are pure evil? like what is wrong with you? So whether it be how they look or how they act, it appears there may be concerns for how fictional writers depict fantasy races that others deem comparable to real people. Record of Grand Crest War is currently available on Netflix. What do you think? Sound off in the comments below. So that's important to note that Record of Grand Crest War is currently available on Netflix, because if Mizuno put Dark Elf characters in that one, then that might get banned off Netflix too, right? At least that's his concern. Anyway, do you guys have anything you want to say about this?
That is a sexy dark elf.
Other than I was right when I talked about it last podcast, that I was surprised they hadn't removed it yet.
I don't see why after reading all that, I don't see why Dark Elf itself would be removed, because that is the type of species. It's not anything else, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Seb wants to know if Skyrim's going to get banned now. I mean, you can't ban what you have on disc, right?
Yeah.
See, because this is the thing here, is that they're censoring episodes from Netflix by just snipping shit out of the digital file that they stream to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They
They're
completely... Good.
I was just going to say, they're still there on the disc you have at home if you have it.
Yeah, if you have it. If they've released it, you know. But anything that's being made now, like, I hope you already have discs of every show that you liked from back in the day. And the problem is that Community, when you watch it on Netflix, it's streaming in HD. But so far as I know, there isn't a Blu-ray of it.
Well, I forget, was it the Disco Crew, like Brady Hartel was like, I'm glad I got this because it was only in print for like a month. Yeah. And
No, he was talking about something else, but they were talking about how the price had gone up on the price had gone up on the volume that this is from on eBay, like they're $500.
Well, they were showing the complete series though.
No, but they were talking about the season that the episode was from, I believe.
Okay. They
And
said
then-
it was
but the thing
30 to
is-
500.
They said that it could be like how The Simpsons had that Stark whatever dad episode. Like the seasons were really expensive, and now it's like $13 on eBay because no one was actually going out to get it.
Well, the thing is that Justin Savegas had pointed out that the Amazon listing for it was still like you can still buy it new, and it was still cheap. You know. So anyway, all right. Continuing here, and then we'll do pickups after the next 3 articles that are all about the same thing. Okay, mangaka believes freedom of expression is vital and doesn't want foreign regulation. So there's 3 articles I'm about to go over about the same thing. I'm just going to cover some of the differences in the translations and stuff, and point out how people using Google Translate don't have any idea what they're talking about. So the wisdom of Ken Akamatsu was sought by Japan's House of Counselors, the upper house of Japan's national diet, in regards to how they can help the manga industry flourish, with the revered mangaka believing freedom of expression to be vital whilst wishing to avoid regulation from foreign platforms. Ken Akamatsu, creator of Love Hina, Negima, and UQ Holder, divulged part of the conversation he had on his Twitter account where he said, I was invited this month to a House of Counselors witness questioning, where a member of the diet asked me, quote, for Japanese manga to survive in the world, what sort of policy would be necessary? I expressed, quote, first of all, and undeniably, freedom of expression. Compared with other countries, Japan's freedom of creativity is its forte. However, with more foreign company platforms becoming an oligopoly, I want to avoid a situation where Japanese works are regulated by foreign standards. The mangaka also proposed that raw manuscripts should be stored, put on display, and monetized through a national manga center, additionally protecting them from being leaked overseas. Should these ideas be implemented, Akamatsu asserted that Japanese manga would be solid for at least the next decade. Akamatsu mentioned that several members of the diet nodded in agreement. Considering the West is constantly being overrun by political delinquents thirsting for unneeded diversity and inclusion in works whilst despising the beauty of the female form, Akamatsu's concerns of foreign meddling may be regarded as highly valid. Okay, so that's what he had to say, according to Sankaku Complex. On Crunchyroll, they translated what he said differently. They said, when he was asked, what measures are needed for Japanese manga need to survive in the world? Great job, guys. Great translation there. I replied, quote, first and foremost, freedom of expression. Compared to other countries, Japan's forte is its freedom of creativity. However, with foreign platforms becoming more and more dominant, I would like to avoid a situation where Japanese works are regulated by foreign standards. According to Akamatsu, all the government members in attendance agreed with the idea. That's a stark change to some of them nodded in agreement, right? In the past, Akamatsu spearheaded the Dojin mark for the cover of manga volumes, showing that the original creator of the series approved of the series being used for fan works. The first series to use the work on the first printing was Akamatsu's own UQ Holder. Now, Nichiban, the Google Translate user, said, one member asked him how manga can, quote, survive in the world. Akamatsu states he explained to them that Japan's, quote, freedom of expression, allowing manga to be freely created, was to its advantage. However, he expressed concerns that Japanese works could be held to foreign regulation. This would be due to the few number of large foreign distributors and publishers dominating the market, giving few alternative options for manga creators or publishers who wish to thrive outside of Japan. Finally, Akamatsu states that he praised the National Manga Center for preserving the original copies of manga, which in turn prevents them from, quote, leaking overseas, presumably fearing the originals being edited or no longer visible to the public. So, I'm pretty sure that the National Manga Center was a proposal that hasn't gone anywhere yet, and he was just showing support for that proposal. But the way they phrased it here sounds like he said it's already a thing and it's doing a bang up job, you know. Anyway, the news comes after Ryo Mizuno, author and creator of Record of Lodoss War, expressed his concerns with his own works, that his own works would be banned after an episode of Community was pulled from Netflix, blah, blah, blah. I just read that, right? Earlier this year, Funimation announced they would no longer be streaming or dubbing Interspecies Reviewers as the show, quote, falls outside of their standards. And even though the anime was later dropped by several channels and picked up by one, it is indicative of how an anime or manga without a major publisher or distributor, such as Funimation or Crunchyroll, can struggle to be sold in the West if it is deemed offensive to certain groups. Anyway, do you guys have anything you want to say about this whole thing? About it's I guess I would say it's nice to see creators in Japan are acknowledging that foreign censorship is a thing, and that, you know, Netflix original anime. Well, there goes any of your creative freedom, right?
Yeah,
it's a bit ironic though,
regarding Ken Atsumatsu with manga censorship. There's a whole, I don't want to say lineage, but a whole saga of him always that he has been fighting for this platform. That right. Luckily we're not covering all of it, but this is like the latest from him.
We've already covered a lot of it in the past.
I know.
I want to say it's ironic that what is it? How he's saying how Japan is good for freedom of expression and all this stuff, but ironically, isn't it Sony who's censoring the games that even the West or whatever?
Yeah, but so I think what he meant when he said that is because we were kind of thinking about we're kind of thinking only of our own countries, right? In Japan might not have as much freedom of expression as, say, the United States does in terms of like your individual ability to do something. But in terms of your ability to monetize things, Japan probably does have a little bit less stringent. Like it's easier to get, because there's so many production companies in Japan for manga and Weekly Shonen Sunday, Weekly Shonen Jump, Weekly blah, 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 you know, that you can get something out there pretty easily compared to places where, like, if you made a new anime like High Guardian Spice, the only place you can put it on is like, you know, Crunchyroll or Funimation are the only places that would even give you an option. You know what I mean? So like having all those little mini options allows you to get places with your work a little bit easier. And I think he's talking more about freedom of expression versus, let's say, the Middle East or China or places like that that are a lot more restrictive of what you can and can't do, especially when it comes to the government book burning and all that kind of stuff, right? Anyway, are you guys interested in doing pickups?
Yes.
Quite enthusiastic.
All right, so first off, thank you, Reese, for the early birthday present, even though you wanted me to open it on my birthday, but he gave me the Amazon limited edition of Cowboy Bebop.
And I noticed you're still not wearing your Pikachu thing.
Well, when I
return.
When I return. I know where it's at.
I don't care.
Is it a onesie?
No, it's a little like
that. It's a visor.
Like a visor thing.
Up next is Rosario plus Vampire with the Cap 2?
Just the complete
Cap
series.
2. The complete series. Wait, did you say is or is not? What am I missing?
No, I just said it's the complete series. It's not like
I'd rather have had the DVD set with the box, but this is
you can buy the limited edition and just slot that into the part 2 slot.
Well, now that we're done with Funimation, here is Sentai. First is something I've already watched. Is How Clumsy Are You, Miss Ueno? This is a very cheeky fun series of Ueno. This is a very cheeky fun series of scientific prodigy Ueno.
She has a galaxy up her skirt.
No. Well, that's technically, this right here, her invention is to prevent the panty upskirt, which is why you see the cosmic wonders underneath her skirt.
That sounds like a terrible anime.
Yeah, that's because so pretty much she is trying to get with him, with her friend, trying to help her get to him, but he keeps thinking of other things because he's dense, apparently. I enjoyed it. It's a short series. 180 minutes? Yeah, 180 minutes.
I thought it was decent.
I had fun. That's what I was hoping for. Up next is Lieutenant Prince Sama Maji Love Kingdom. And I believe this is a movie. either a movie or a movie of the series. There we go.
Every time I see Uta no Prince Sama or whatever it's called, I just think of like there's no actual show. It's literally just like because they make so much of it that it's just a picture on a case.
Fair enough. Up next, I have Nanambyori Vacation, the movie. Ha ha ha.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, and I got it. Ha ha ha. Then next is Fate Collider Linear Prisma Ilia Val in the Snow. All of its movie glory. Still wish season 3 was not digital only by Funimation. Then we have Fate Collider Linear Prisma Ilia Prisma Phantasma. Ooh, spin that baby. Round, once again, getting the spine, and there we go. So last time I talked about Nature's Way and Country Hearts. Today's chapter, we're going to talk about Wolf Trap, Hello Goodbye. Wolf Trap. Poor Wolf is being chased after by some mean people who want to trap him. Watch as Wolf outsmarts them to keep his freedom. And then Hello Goodbye, you're saying hello, I'm saying goodbye. The story of how hard it is to say goodbye, but also nice when someone tells someone, but also it is nice when you say hello. And to wreck it all up, last of all, we got Hentai Express. Choo choo, chugga chugga. Adventure Kid, and next.
Whoa.
Yeah. Woo.
Your mic did something weird just now.
Uh-huh.
His
when I did
60th
this.
copy of Adventure Kid. Oh, is the spotlight on me now?
The spotlight is on you. Please have something good because I need you to be the thumbnail today.
Okay. Whoops.
Oh, 1P. That's going to be wonderful.
There we go.
There you are.
Okay, so the first thing I got here is Bleach Set 7. It says it's up to episodes 195 now, and I'm just, I really like how we just have so much of it out now on Blu-ray. I realized, I'm like, I haven't actually been checking these to check if they're native HD yet, so I should probably do that sometime later today. And then I have my discotheque order. I finally have Konosuba first season, which has its dub. Then we got Giant Robo, which I really like the cover of it, which is the first successful OVA series, or whatever people say. Then we got City Hunter, season 1, part 1 and 2. So I finally successfully been cucked or anti-cucked. It's my redemption of discotheque media. And I got from their eBay page, but it took forever for it to somehow get to me. It was in Canada for like, it feels like over a week. And now finally arrived. That's all.
Augie said Happy Canada Day.
Oh yeah, and I hated yesterday because I celebrated by being in misery that my packages didn't arrive.
All right. Reese, did you want to share something?
Is FTN done?
Yes.
Dun 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 dun.
You can go back to being an avatar now because it's taking for, like all the bandwidth you have.
I picked up My Hero Academia Volume 24, One Punch Man Volume 20, Overlord Novel 12, and Saga of Tiny the Evil Novel 7. That's it.
Okay.
Sure, you're yawning a lot, A3.
Yeah.
You okay?
No, I've had a grand total of maybe 8 hours this entire week to sleep.
I was going to say 8 hours is pretty good this entire week. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I picked up Tanpopo. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about Japanese words that when they romanize them, they change the N's into M's, like senpai becomes senpai.
I'll be right back.
Anyway, Tanpopo, which is the Japanese word for dandelion, by Juzo Itami. The Ballad of Narayama by Keisuke Kinoshita. And then I got something that we've talked about on the podcast before. The amazing Akira Kurosawa Sanshiro Sugata. But the problem is, this is supposed to be
skinny.
from the box set of the first 23 films, or the first films of Akira Kurosawa. So that was a terrible buy. And then an even worse buy. This was super cheap on Amazon finally, and they sent it to me without a slipcover.
That's usually why it's pretty cheap, I've noticed. It's like they always send without a slipcover when it's like, one left in stock. Buy now, it's cheaper.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my pickups for you guys.
I do want to make a quick note. You reminded me. You guys talked about last podcast about aspect ratios and how Penguin Highway was in like the cinematic ratio instead of 16:9.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I reminded was that MFKZ was done by Studio 4C. They did Tekken Concrete, which is also in cinematic.
Concrete, yeah.
And I also recently watched Children of the Sea, which is also in that format.
So it's just their preferred animation aspect ratio?
Yeah. But I mean, guys, I can't remember. I think it was FDM said that he hasn't seen one. Like even like the third Rebuild Evangelion movie was that way. Like the new Lupin the Third 3D CG movie is that way, which was really cool.
Okay, that one's more Hollywood style animation, I guess you could say. So that one kind of makes sense compared to the others. But strictly anime is like it's not all that common. Apparently, though, for Studio 4 degrees Celsius, it is though.
Okay. A bunch of bullshit news coming up. Acclaimed manga artist. I just realized I skipped the news of somebody who died. Symphogear Season 1 director Tatsufumi Ito passed away at 55. He worked as a key animator on Digimon, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Attack on Titan, and many more. Well, that's quite the repertoire.
Let's start with Symphogear.
What? It's like the biggest thing he did. It's like, well, he directed Symphogear. It's like, yeah, he's a key animator on Digimon, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Attack on Titan, and many more. But he directed Symphogear. Okay. Anyway,
my friend has high praises for Symphogear.
I know. I'm giving it a hard time, but well, he worked on AKB 0048, which sucked. Anyway, so yeah, he died. I don't. This is a great way to memorialize. I'm sorry. All right, moving on because I'm terrible at this. Okay, acclaimed manga artist Hisashi Eguchi works on his first anime character designs in 17 years. So I'm not sure. If he's continued to draw in the last 17 years, but he worked on Susume Pirates, Stop, Hibari-kun. He did the anime designs for Rojin Z, like the character designs, Perfect Blue, and Uninhabited Planet Survive. So he's being contracted to do an entire class of high school students. And here's his artwork from previous stuff he's worked on. Anyway, continuing, because I don't have anything else to say about that. Coworkers get ornery in My Senpai is Annoying TV anime adaptation. Surgery is suggestive in Monster Girl Doctor TV anime trailer, which I have to say, when I watched this, I was very disappointed in humanity that people want to fuck Monster Girl so badly. But then when I realized it was called Monster Musume, was it called Monster Musume? No. Oishisam, right? I wondered if maybe it's just a spinoff of Monster Musume, and therefore just the same.
Because the only thing that guy's ever done is like Nurse Hitomi.
Well, that's unfortunate. Nurse Switch Komugi?
No.
Good, because that's good and this is suck. Anyway, so yeah, well, that's disheartening because this is horrifying that people are into this stuff. Especially, it's not as horrifying as that one that's like, so I'm a spider, so what, or whatever. Gross. Can't watch that shit.
I love the redundant so.
Yohei Yasumura's The Dungeon of Black Company fantasy manga gets a TV anime adaptation.
That's racist.
I mean,
Black Company?
I can't really see much about it, but it looks enthralling. Like, I feel like this guy could either be like a Guts type or a Kamina type. And then this character has a bunch of diamonds in their hair that's probably going to get annoying. And this character looks like he stepped out of Shaman King. So it's all around good. I don't know who this guy in the corner is with the little finger on it. I don't know what that is. Anyway, TV anime. All right, Battle Athlete's new anime project is in the works.
Augie's not here to talk about it.
All right. Well, snooze you lose. Big announcement supposedly coming for Ije Nagatoro-san.
Well, there was an announcement today that it got a TV anime, so that must be it.
That was it. And that was pretty obvious because the Nagatoro_anime Twitter account has been private for a couple months now. So yeah, that's the thing. There you go. Ninja Nonsense manga returns 20 years after its serialization began. So
I love when things do that because it's like, wow, thanks for continuing.
Thanks for continuing after I bought that complete collection. Nin ga Shinobuden Plus is what it's going to be called, whereas the other one was just called Nin ga Shinobuden, right?
It probably will get another anime, just like one volume. And then be done.
Right. He said it counts as like a volume 0.
Wow.
Or something like that.
I hate volume zeros. Can we not make things chronological and easy?
I have to say that I didn't think this show was as good as it could have been. Moving on.
I liked at least episode 1 that I've watched so far.
So I have to ask you guys know how leggings that are skinned to look like jeans are called jeggings?
I guess.
Well, I do now.
Now that I know.
Are there such thing as sleggings where you make slack leggings? Because I'm pretty sure that's what she's wearing. Also, I think it's really funny.
You mean they conform to...
Go ahead.
I was gonna say because they conform to her body like leggings, but they're like they have.
But they look like slacks, and they're like there's a belt and everything. Anyway, so this is funny because this lifestyle publication, it's like a women's magazine, right? Weekly women's magazine, and it's got like interviews about how animation has changed during the coronavirus time and stuff. Like, that's something women magazine, like, they must have so little to women's issues are so insignificant that they're like, yeah, director with Kenji Kamiya, like.
I love how she has a little triangle of skin just randomly.
Right here? She's wearing like a one piece. Right? It's like a one piece bathing suit.
Is she wearing the one piece?
Yeah, I was thinking, wouldn't that be funny if the One Piece from the show One Piece turned out to just be a bathing suit? Like it was a Sukumizu girls' high school swimsuit thing.
What's the difference between a swimsuit and a leotard?
One of them you swimming?
Well, one you wear swimming.
So is there anything else different with that? Oh, cool.
No, you could probably swim in a leotard too.
So, what I recently just got.
Don't dox yourself.
Trying not to. So, is Yuri on Ice. AC went to the theaters and saw the whole thing. And he said it was a nightmare.
I did not use those exact words.
That's
so
is that it?
Are you going to the COVID-19 parties that the Alabama teens are throwing?
No, I'm smarter than that.
You go to the
hospital
AIDS parties.
says-
Yeah, he's a man of class.
Yeah. So local hospital says
Sophisticated.
we're getting reports of COVID in the 700s. 2 weeks later,
Oh, I think you
we'll
had
be having
10,000 today.
1,000. Yeah, it was up quite a lot. Then it turns to the mayor of the town saying you should be perfectly fine to go to church. Way to go, mayor, trying to kill your own people. Ugh.
Well, you could go to church if you like, when you go to a what do you call it, a restaurant, and they like block off every other table. You just have people sit like every other pew and all that. You could do that. You could do that, especially if you had a mask on.
Drive-in. Well, they were doing drive-in churches. And streaming on YouTube.
Those are a hate crime in some places.
Would you like fries with that?
That's a drive-through church. Those are the ones. Those are the places where you get married in Vegas.
There you go. I keep thinking like you can do a church electronic drive-through system. For some reason I keep thinking that.
God be with you, and also with you. Next.
I think most churches are just live streaming now, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. Several copies of The Last of Us 2 being resold on Mercari, which is basically Japan's version of eBay. And I'm just going to go ahead and full screen this real quick so we can see how many copies are for sale.
So I take it they didn't like it in Japan either?
I'm pretty sure they didn't like it anyway. By the way, Augie, didn't you say you played this on Twitter or something?
No, he made a comment about it out of nowhere for some reason. What did you say? What did you say? Should we pull it up?
Sure, pull it up. There's some typo in there, but pretty much
You made it sound like it was a waste of time.
Well, yeah, if the creators didn't create a perfect game like before and they just did a quick cash grab, if they don't care, why should you?
So you didn't play it? You're just saying that as a PSA?
I just want to point out he's still scrolling.
I did not play it. I'm just saying that.
You don't need to play it.
My only comment for The Last of Us Part 2. 1, SpongeBob sold out before it did. 2, if you make a crappy game and you're upset over it, don't buy it. Just like the developers, I felt this was a waste of time.
Yeah, that was about it.
Next.
All right. Moving on. Yeah, so we don't need to talk about these people's comments. Resident Evil Village is roughly 60% done. So that's all I got to say about that.
Next.
Goblin Slayer: The Endless Revenge marries off its women.
Hold up.
So
I don't.
So this is for the
I guess
game.
maybe that might be. Okay, I guess
this is for the game.
Yeah.
Smartphone RPG.
I get the elf.
Oh, look at that! Seb bought Last of Us 2 for $48. Beat it in a day or two and sold it again for $50.
So Seb, I think it was last podcast they said he was getting The Last of Us 2. So how was it? Sounds amazing if you sold it already.
So Smash Brothers US video oddly censors Sakurai's consoles and social distancing joke. So I didn't cover the Smash Bros. Min character, or somebody else got added to. What was it? Like, is that assist trophy or some shit? I don't remember. But I didn't cover that last podcast because I didn't have the energy and didn't care. But they did a video at Sakurai's place, and there's a whole hullabaloo about his couch. He has like a love seat recliner, and everybody was looking for how to get it. So yeah, I guess in the US release of the video, they changed one of his jokes about social distancing when he was getting too close to people in the fight. Like they were all getting too close, to just like, oh, they're too close, right? And then the photos of all of this B-roll of all of his game consoles, they didn't show, presumably because they didn't want you to see, oh, Sakurai plays PS3 and PS4. I should go get one. You know, my hero Sakurai. He plays the Famicom and the Wonder Swan. Anyway.
Of course, he plays the
Some
Famicom.
good punch and some bad writing.
Oh, here's a good one. Sony's servers responsible for licenses and transaction history are reportedly breaking down. What allows digital distribution to function is user security and knowing their purchases are protected and secure. Without this consumer confidence, digital distribution would not have grown into the billion-dollar industry it is today. For this reason alone, it is perplexing why Sony has not dealt with long persisting issues of some users' purchases not being downloadable or re-downloadable, depending on the instance. All manner of explanation has been floated to explain the issue. Some believe it is a problem with their internet not being able to connect to PlayStation servers properly. Given Sony's servers and connectivity are known to have problems, this is not an unreasonable explanation. Even a friend of mine has directly experienced repeated server issues when attempting to join online games and chat, an issue he does not have with his Xbox One. Others have blamed publishers or some unknown problems with their PlayStation. Yet new evidence has emerged to suggest the problem originates because of corruption on Sony's servers. A user by the name of Nodhead began an investigation into the issue when one of his games failed to re-download, but others on Reddit have reported the problem has cropped up following their purchase of The Last of Us 2. Immediately, he noticed, despite retaining the receipt email, Dazaimon Plus, along with another game, had been removed from his transaction history. So he's got the email here that says it, right?
Yeah.
But his actual thing says no product. Amount $0, right? Anyway, so I'm not going to go ahead and read the whole thing because it's kind of boring, but the bottom line is let it all burn. Let it all burn. Let people come back to physical media.
Yep.
Yeah. Interspecies Reviewers Volume 2 Blu-ray goes all in on the nudity and fan service. So the article that was on Sankaku Complex was titled something to the effect of they ditch the light rays or something, you know, like the sensor light. But I've noticed in the things which I can't show that they're only removing the blurry bits on the nipples. Like the blurry bits, they have these like glowing firefly clusters around their nudity bits, and they're only removing them from the boobs. Like the groin is not being removed. So like all the male characters too, like their dicks are still censored and stuff. So like go big or go home, guys.
All in.
Yeah, all in. And yet it's just titties. So disappointing.
All in.
I want to see the weird boners you gave all the characters.
Exactly.
The corkscrew penis. All right, so I had this in here, but since it didn't have an image, and since Reese just sent me the other thing, here you go. Ghost in the Shell 4K HDR 2K Blu-ray, whatever the hell that means.
HDR and the regular 4K and the regular Blu-ray.
Yeah, the combo.
Okay, so Blu-ray are considered 2K?
I think. I don't know. I'm
I
guessing.
don't think so.
2K is literally like okay, so think of it like 2,000 pixels or whatever, but it's 1920.
2K is supposed to be
1440.
twice the size of 1080p. And 4K is if you were to take 1080p and add another 1080p to the top of it, and then two more to the right of it in order to have 4 times the size, that's 4K.
Okay. So technically speaking, 2K should be what 4K is actually, but people refer to it as 2K is basically 1080, just like round up, and 4K is they're using the width or whatever.
I mean, I guess if you do 1920 rounded up,
yeah, essentially that's what they're doing.
that's lame. Okay,
I know,
so
it's really dumb.
so
But
here's
wait.
the thing, though. Lionsgate is releasing this, and from what I read from Professor Who, they released the other Blu-rays, including the Steelbook one, and apparently that one is shit quality.
How?
I don't know. And then, or like the one before that, the Blu-ray before that awesome looking Steelbook one. The Steelbook is literally the same disc. It's just repackaged into a Steelbook, right? That's what they said, and there were still problems in it from the original version. So anyway, continuing.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause you for
Hold
a
up.
second. I didn't
second.
realize what you were talking about with the Interspecies Reviewers stuff. And this episode, what the specific thing was, the little light things. That was the thing with this brothel where all the naughty bits were covered and with the light things. That was just for this particular brothel. I'm surprised that they took that out.
So in the Sankaku Complex one, though, they have
that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at.
A whole bunch of episodes. They have like the episode with the mushroom people and all that. Is that the same episode?
No.
Like that. You're looking at the Sankaku Complex one, right?
Yes.
So is the Blu-ray stuff the one on the right side of the screen? Go scroll up and look at the salamander.
Going
girl.
from the top.
Tell me that salamander girl didn't get a boob job on just one side.
I don't know.
Boobs are pretty.
It looks smaller
Episode.
on the one side.
It says screenshots on the left depicting improvement presence on the BD, both minor and so the ones on the left of the BD, the ones on the right.
But then some of the ones on the left are more censored.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, I'm looking at the second one. You can see her nipple through her dress on the
right
video.
on the right side.
Yeah, that's on the right side.
Yeah. Like, are they toning it down? Anyway,
the one for the light thing on like the main course of the article, the Will of the Wisp episode, they had all this stuff censored. There was kind of the charm of the brothel. You can't see anything, but you're doing it.
Oh, the Will Wisp one.
No,
then
the Will of the Wisp.
Then it seems like that one shouldn't be uncensored, where like that kind of defeats the story purpose of that episode to uncensor it.
It should have been.
No, but I'm saying that they shouldn't have uncensored the nips either.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so Ghost in the Shell Blu-ray 2069 on Right Stuff, 1929 on Target. Also, Home Alone 2 is more expensive than Ghost in the Shell.
I'd still buy it on Right Stuff because the Right Stuff guarantees good packaging and shipment.
I know. I'm just saying. I noticed this. All right, continuing here.
Right Stuff.
Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Galactic Battles Complete Collection.
Didn't you guys cover this last week?
No, this one was like a last minute
expensive.
Case closed. Zero the Enforcer.
I have a comment on the Pokemon. If you look in the description or on the info card on the back, it says 4x3, 16x9. So this was their transitional period.
Yep, right there.
It's awfully double the price considered what they usually do for pre-order for these sets.
How many episodes are in it?
Probably 50.
18 hours.
Okay.
Once
Zero the Enforcer.
52 episodes into Pokemon. This one is a sequel.
Okay.
It's also like the best-selling Conan film.
Yeah, but that's every new Conan film.
That's true.
Galaxy Express 39 TV series collection 3 Blu-ray.
Sweet has other specials and Harmony Gold dubs, and it finally completes the original series. Happy to see it.
Luigi Terusawa Space Adventure Cobra complete original TV series on Blu-ray. So
is this the one that Nozomi originally released?
Yes.
So this is being released by Discotech with yes. So the series was originally released by Nozomi, which is why Justin Savakis was saying that they got that interview from Right Stuff. That is a special feature on the Blu-ray, thanks to Sean Kleckner. And this was also the thing where they did a project where they tried to create a dub for it, but they only got 2 episodes in and then canceled the project. But they still included the dub on the disc for us.
So I was partially right a year ago.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird, but it's nice that they include it anyway. And the thing
How
I'm
have I
glad
not
about
bought this yet?
I'm glad about this being the Nozomi one because I have the art box, so I can slip this in the other slot of the art box, and I get the best of both worlds.
I need to get this for if I ever do a history
CG.
of CGI in anime.
So you're pointing it out because it's out of print?
No.
No, it's not out of print; it's just out of
Stuff
stock.
No.
It was just at the bottom here on the.
Oh,
You
okay.
may
I was
also
wondering,
like-
how did that get up?
Okay, Wicked City Blu-ray.
Sweet. Includes 2 dubs, 1 UK and 1 US.
Did the DVD that Discotech put out have that too?
I forgot.
Yeah.
Jungle Day Eco.
Yeah.
So are they getting stuff that Media? Oh, it is Anime Works releasing this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the
well,
cover better than the DVD.
I like that.
Yeah, I guess.
Still keeping the old
I'm not really digging this. Font's kind of hard to read. I mean, I already knew what it said because I recognized the character.
Yeah.
Zayram 2.
Best anime.
Because it had like a combo release from Discotech, I could have sworn.
Which one?
Hello.
Tokyo Shock.
I see that.
So this is Iria Zayram live action, basically.
And the biggest comment I saw when people saw that on the fandom post, where's Zerium 1?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's so special about this Kite Liberator? Did they do the
Blu-ray?
reverse of the original? No, it's already had a Blu-ray or 2.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My question is, did they do the reverse of what they did with the original and actually made a hentai version of a non-hentai?
What's the rating? 16 plus.
16 plus.
I bet they're probably reprinting it so they can have something to make some money off of, and it was a previously a good seller.
But
I'm
they
speculating.
already had a...
It's not really that
I'm
good.
speculating.
Dr. Stone, take it away, Reese.
No, take it away. Dr. Stone Season 1 Part 1, Blur Duty Combo. This was solicited today. Scroll to the next images.
I was
Next
confused
image.
by that.
Yeah.
How it was solicited today.
That looks pretty good. I mean, got 3 art cards.
It's a decent looking set. Too bad Funimation's releasing it.
I like how Funimation's doing this new layout showing what you get with even standard edition releases recently. But why did they solicit it just today in just this one?
Who knows?
Yeah, probably
I
some
mean, it
store
should have
contract
been
agreement.
solicited with the September solicitations.
Yeah. Maybe they were trying to work out some kinks or something. Now, why did you hesitate, AC, when you said, "Oh, Funimation got it"? What's the concern?
Funimation. They've been less than stellar lately, and they continually release things that are censored, and
Not to worry about
they've
that
been
with this one.
pretty awful.
Yeah, this one you
I
don't have to worry about.
I know that. I'm talking about the company in general has been kind of a letdown lately, and I would like to see some other companies knock them off their mountain. Oh, also, you want to buy this for the podcast backdrop?
Yeah, sure.
So these are being made to order. Right Stuff doesn't even have them. They're literally just like, yeah, we could get these made if we want.
They can only there's only going to be 10 of them made. 7 of them have already been claimed. Right Stuff can sell the remaining 3 exclusively.
Wow. They
No,
make it
Right Stuff
in
is
ZBrush. They 3D print it piece by piece just because. I guess they hand paint it. Who on earth would actually want this?
You could just put in the work to make a 3D print of your own.
I'll buy the 3D model and print it myself, like you said. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it would be way cheaper to just buy a really good 3D printer.
Didn't they say like
it.
the way that you order it? To order this figure, please contact our customer care team between 8 a.m. to 12 p.m.
The wire transfer or e-check. They're not going to let you go through Sizzle for this one.
But where would you put this? Something like this, you would think would be perfect for a garden, but with it being made of plastic and paint.
A garden, I'm going to put my precious collectible.
Yeah,
in.
nobody's
You're
going to
not
put
putting
my
that
$40,000 lawn gnome.
Not going outside. Not going near a window.
Oh god, that getting yellowed.
I mean, not from the sun.
Oh god.
Small World's Tokyo theme park offers human scale Eva figure at 3.4 million yen. So if you wanted to get both of these, it would cost you about 60,000, maybe $70,000 to $80,000. But you could put them next to each other with the Eva
have
like
a little cute little wedding ceremony.
look at his face. He's like, hey girl, like.
Like this would be like something to have in like the entryway at Right Stuff or something.
Yeah.
This would be something to have in my foyer. Trick or treat! Oh my god, a killer robot. Okay. Evangelion. Okay, I have no idea what I'm looking at here. Tell me what I'm looking at here.
Next.
No.
Next.
No. Evangelion The Flight theme park ride shows off post-Second Impact world. Do you ride on the wing?
I guess so. I'm
Do
thinking
they
like
fly
that
you
Epcot.
around Japan on the wing?
I think this is like the Epcot ride where you like take a sky. What do you call it?
So it's like
Skydive
one of those things where they have like the scents that pump into the room, and they do like the
40
big
ride.
dome-shaped IMAX screens or whatever.
40 ride.
Anyway, so there's something else here. Full-size Evangelion statue appears at Japanese theme park with entry plug synchronization tests.
Now
So
that's
people?
something I need to 3D print.
Yeah, it has LCL that looks like pretty dang good for the real life equivalent. Except I hate how shiny and reflective it is, and I hate that this image won't load. There we go. And then just cuz. All right, continuing. Take it away, Augie.
All right. So this person from Shut Up and Take My Money has made a robotic Rhyhorn with ash being pooped from it, just like the famous scene in Ace Ventura, Nature Calls. When he gets stuck in the rhinoceros and has to strip off and get out of the rhino so he can breathe, while traumatizing a poor family with a small child, leaving the child to think that people come from rhinoceros ass.
All right.
$20. Check it out.
Pac-Man Sake series coming to salute the video game star's 40th birthday.
Do they taste different?
I don't know.
How do they taste?
Weird Japanese vending machine finds soda that looks like mayonnaise.
Oh, God.
Also soda that looks like soy sauce.
Oh, God.
Oh dear.
Sega releases Sonic the Hedgehog Taiyaki to celebrate 80 years of Sega awesomeness.
Sweet. Kind of looks like Sonic laughing like Felix the Cat.
I mean, maybe the picture of it does. The actual thing itself is a sight to see.
Yeah, it's just full of air holes.
They didn't use a vacuum chamber for the batter to get the air bubbles out.
Pikachu engagement rings and Pokemon wedding rings for him and her can be yours now. So tell me, that looks like Pikachu, right? Not two dicks,
No, Pikachu's
two
ears.
dog penises.
Yeah. That's what you want to think. That's your priority.
That's your prerogative.
My wife saw the headline. She's like, "Oh my gosh, so cute." I'm like, "Do you really want this dick ring?" She's like, "Oh God, well, when you put it like that."
Who wouldn't want gold-plated dicks on their fingers?
There's this Yaomushi pedal stage play, and they hold the handlebars, right? Like they have to like hold them up against their arm when they're not riding the bike because they can't put them down because they need to have them because all they do is they have these handlebars and they're just going like this the whole time. Just going like, but just the handlebars throughout the whole thing. And I didn't share that article last podcast, but I was looking at another article where they're making an actual live action movie. And my wife goes, "What's this called? Ride or Die?" And I'm like, "Yes, Ride or Die starring DMX." And she goes, "On BMX." Oh, and then Kana from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I thought this was hilarious because they've got the little the cute gasm face on the Dharma or whatever that thing's called.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, her tail's missing, but all right, that's all right. And her horns.
It's stuffed up her, what is it? The kimono?
Magic.
Japan's greatest shirtless comedian, Egashira 250, honored a new capsule toy line.
Heyo.
So, for some reason, this guy does this thing where he shoves his fist in his pants.
He might have a lot of lines in his performance, but to me, he looks like an Asian Mr. Bean.
Sure.
Anyway, a lot of these articles I was going to read, but decided not to. Oh, this is great. Kyoto's annual giant mountain bonfire displays are being drastically reduced for 2020. So they put the figure for big and all these different things, right? But the thing is, they're like, the centerpiece of the Gozan no Okuribi is the Daimonji, the kanji character for big, which is lit first and consists of 75 separate bonfires. This year, however, only 6 bonfires will be lit. Here's their computer simulation of what it's going to look like. A few minutes later, the Myo and Ho kanji characters that express Buddhism ideology are lit, but this year will be reduced from 116 fires to 2. So then they've got the boat shape, drop down to 1 fire. Anyway, I wonder if they'll still broadcast these dots on TV. I think they should do it as usual out of respect for the dead. On the bright side, it's a good test of your imagination. I thought I was reading a satirical news site at first. It's like looking at constellations. People forget that it's a ritual, not a spectacle. It's more important that they carry on than make the show for the rest of us. All right, man in Tokyo tries to pay for sex with a toy check. Kids' plaything and adult services don't mix well. Shin Sudo is a man with expensive tastes. He likes to dress in fancy clothes, stay in swanky hotels, and frequently employ the services of a Heken Fuzoku worker. Or as it's called here, Haken, which is it? We'll never know. Haken Fuzoku, or dispatch sexual services, is a sector of Japan's adult services industry in which the provider goes to the home or hotel room of a client to perform erotic massage, body washing, or other services of a sexual nature. However, with love, just as with anything else, if you're renting it frequently enough, it eventually makes more sense to just buy it, which is what Sudo tried to do on March 24th, according to the Tokyo Metropolitan Police. On that day, Sudo was staying in a hotel in Tokyo's Shinjuku district and had contracted the services of a Haken Fuzoku worker, of whom he was a repeat customer. At some point during their time together, Sudo told her, "You must be in a tight spot from getting less work because of the coronavirus. How about you become my lover in exchange for this?" He then handed her a check for 8 million yen, or $74,800 US. It's worth noting that while rumors abound that It's worth noting that while rumors abound that full-on sex is often an unspoken and technically uncompensated part of Haken Fuzoku agreements, intercourse is officially off limits, as directly paying for sex is illegal under Japanese law. Nevertheless, the woman took Pseudo's check and approximately 1 month later went to the bank to cash it. Now, if you've done much shopping in Japan, something probably sticks out here. And no, we're not talking about Pseudo's dong. In Japan, the use of personal checks is very unusual. And it's an especially weird move to use one when paying for something illegal. Sure enough, when the woman took the check to the bank, the teller noticed it was a fake and not even a particularly high quality one. It turns out Pseudo had bought a fake blank check at a toy store, then dressed it up with some rubber stamps to make it look more official before giving it to the woman. Needless to say, the Haken Fuzoku worker didn't become 8 million yen richer, and Pseudo was arrested on June 17th on counterfeiting charges, presumably avoiding charges of solicitation on the grounds that he meant lover as merely an expression of emotional devotion that we wanted to lavishly compensate. I think that means it's supposed to be that he wanted to lavishly compensate the woman for. The investigation has also uncovered that while he's apparently had enough income to pay his hotel bills and Haken Fuzoku tabs, Pseudo is currently unemployed, though that could just indicate that he earns his money through unofficial/illegal means. The topper is that this is Pseudo's second arrest in as many months for the same crime, as he gave a different Haken Fuzoku worker a fake check as part of the same offer and was arrested for that instance last month. Apparently, his plan has been to enjoy his lover's company for free until they try to cash their check, then burn the bridge and move on to a new target while hoping the last doesn't make a fuss. But considering his frequent failure rate, Haken Fuzoku workers don't seem to be as gullible or docile as he'd hoped. Any thoughts?
Her.
Okay, that hoe over there. I gotcha.
So why didn't she? What I don't get is why didn't she try to cash the check much more sooner, or not realize it was a toy check?
She's not desperate to redeem it, apparently.
Okay.
She's probably still getting pretty good income.
Well, it's probably that, like they said, checks aren't used that often in Japan, so maybe she didn't even know how to cash it.
That's scary.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Maybe it's harder to cash checks during coronavirus time, too.
I just deposit.
Yep.
Take a photo of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the routing number says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Damn. Kids check again. Former Studio Trigger employees receive settlement for unpaid overtime. Quote, "We will continue to improve working conditions," says Trigger. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. How about you work to continue to improve your anime, Trigger? The General Union's Black Company branch released a statement on June 30th detailing an arbitration it held between anime studio Trigger, known for the hit anime film Promare, and anime series Little Witch Academia and BNA, Boku no Hero Academia. Just kidding. And ex-employees over unpaid overtime due to a misappropriation of the discretionary labor system. Yeah, like the one that they used at the place where I first worked, where I was considered an exempt employee and didn't get overtime for doing 3D work. Because you could just pull off anybody off the street and fulfill that role. Is the argument they made. The General Union has been the arbiter of for many payment disputes between anime studios and their employees in the past, including Madhouse and Studio 4 Degrees Celsius. The Note.com post states that ex-employees of Trigger got together and collectively bargained with the studio. General Union says that the two parties involved reached an agreement and the matter was resolved amicably. Trigger released a statement on the homepage of the studio's website saying that they, quote, "will continue to improve working conditions." The statement is geo-locked to Japan, but can be found in General Union's post. Here, the statement is as it can be seen on the website. Okay. Japan's discretionary labor system lets employees pay for a fixed number of hours worked rather than an hourly wage, with any work completed by the employee outside of these hours left unpaid. Okay. The dispute between Trigger and the former employees is due to a common mechanism in the animation industry and in Japan as a whole in some companies, where employees are on a all-you-can-work at a fixed rate system, which is illegal according to the labor laws in Japan, but is only enforced when employees speak out against the company they work for. Thankfully, between Trigger and the former employees, both parties came to a satisfying settlement, and the case won't need to go to court. All right, well, there you go. But something more interesting. A Tokyo gubernatorial candidate strips naked in television campaigns. Tokyo gubernatorial candidate strips naked in televised campaign speech. All right. So this is on the NHK, the good old NHK, right? Where they have to give airtime to all the candidates, right? That's why the guy who did the car sex adultery in the street got on NHK to complain about NHK.
Yeah.
So candidate exercises right to wear poop-stained diaper on head during address. Teruki Goto is one of the more mysterious candidates in the current race for Tokyo governor. A perennial candidate in various local elections for the past 9 years, he has consistently pushed the limits that campaign regulators set. For example, during a mayoral run in 2015, Goto designed a poster that somehow managed to meet both meet the stringent layout rules and feature a picture of him fully nude and brandishing a samurai sword. An interesting feature of politics in Japan is that public broadcaster NHK is required to allot all registered candidates airtime to present their platform to the people. These candidates are allowed to say whatever they want, even if it's directly disparaging the TV station they are appearing on. So what would happen if the man in the poster above, who appears to have more recently joined the Transhumanist Party, was allowed to run wild for 6 minutes on NHK? It'd go something like this. Yeah, so you can watch this whole thing. He starts his thing. Immediately starts stripping.
What the fuck?
Okay.
What the
Imagine if you went to watch, like you had something just like this and it's like, I'm Joe Biden and I approve this message. Right?
This is so worth the time. Anything else?
Without
it would make American politics much more entertaining. Watching this,
yeah.
Watching this in like the waiting room for the doctor's office, I was like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, this is actually, if you watch the Libertarian Party debates, this actually happened. The host, for whatever reason, decided to strip down. Real fat guy decided to just pretty much get naked on stage. I don't know why. So without going in and untangling all of that stream of consciousness that made up Goto's speech, the first thing that jump out are his nudity, diapers with a big poop stain, t-shirt that reads Chinko Shugi or penisism, and his frequent uses of the word referring to genitalia. This is all by design and allude back to another notable appearance on NHK while running for governor in 2016. I haven't even watched this one, I'm afraid. All right. He doesn't do anything crazy on that one. In this speech, Goto also referred to genitals and feces, but had these words censored out by the NHK. In total, he was muted 21 times, but his simulated oral sex act. appeared to have been too fast for them to deal with on live TV. Afterward, Goto sued NHK for violating the election law, which states that a candidate's political views must be aired without any tampering. NHK won the suit, but it appears they were affected by the whole ordeal and refrained from altering Goto's message at all this time around, surprisingly. It's a political experiment that has captivated many around Japan. Quote, he's poking around for weaknesses in NHK's political coverage. It's brilliant. Quote, I watched this with my parents. It was uncomfortable when Goto came up, but I couldn't help laughing. Knowing who he was ahead of time made me excited for this next speech. He does not give a fuck. Or as the Japanese say, I don't give a fuck. I'm worried these elections are starting to lose the plot. I feel bad for the women who had to read his introduction. They're probably going to change the election law so they can arrest him. So he is running for the Chaos Party? Believe it or not, if you follow him carefully enough, there does appear to be a method to Goto's madness in what he describes as quote, serious... Sorry. Believe it or not, if you follow him carefully enough, there does appear to be a method to Goto's madness in what he describes as, quote, seriously fooling around. For example, with regards to his stance on public nudity, he says, quote, babies aren't really brought by the stork. It's an act of nature, and kids getting exposed to men and women's genitals for the first time by porno is really unhealthy, isn't it? I don't think kids are taught about it properly, and I don't understand why we can't talk about genitals openly. I mean, sound logic. Speaking of nudity, Goto's poster for this year was fully clothed, as the character Lelouch, how do you spell his name? Lamperouge?
V. Pratana. Oh.
Lelouch Lamperouge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's two different ways to look at it.
So Lelouch from Code Geass, the creators of which in no way endorse Goto. Yeah, his poster says like, you will vote for me, or I command you to vote for me, or something like that.
Yeah.
So Goto also says that legislative assemblies on all levels in Japan are full of completely serious men and women. And in that way, they aren't truly representative of the public as a whole. For a government to be truly the voice of the people, it ought to have a few goofballs and free thinkers such as him for good measure. Either he's starting to make a scary amount of sense, or there might be a gas leak in my office. So there's another woman who's running for the Oriemon Party, I think it's called. And she took the masks that Abe sent, the two masks, and turned them into a bra. Also, something's going on with her face. So, like, yeah, it says Abe mask bra, right? Something about the coronavirus. Her name is Kanashindo, right? So, tell me though, does it or does it not look like she has a tiny photo of a face photoshopped on a face that was already here?
It looks like that because she has like two different lines, but I think one is just implied from her hair.
Right, but like it's so creepy weird how small her face looks. Anyway. Also, NHK loses court to Tokyo woman who can't watch it because her TV has a blocker installed. So one small victory for man and womankind. Living in Japan is great, except for the NHK collectors. These door-to-door salesmen, as one might call them, regularly come knocking on people's doors, asking for them to pay the NHK Public Broadcasting Organization's mandatory fee of $130 US. So it's mandatory fee of $130 to $240 US per year. I'm not sure why you have to pay different amounts. Maybe it's based on how many people are in your house. Since they work for contracted companies instead of NHK themselves, they tend to be unaffected by the pressure of having a good reputation and are often overly persistent and even resort to brazen actions to coerce you into paying. They're widely regarded as a nuisance, so people in general actively try to avoid paying and even interacting with them at all. It's technically illegal to avoid the fee, but you don't have to pay it. But you don't have to pay if you have no way to watch the NHK. Like, for example, you have no TV. Since they have no way of verifying whether you have a TV or not, they have no way of forcing you to pay. Many people have shared lots of ways to get around paying the NHK collectors. But once you've signed the contract and started paying the fee, you're just about locked in for life. God damn it. Why did none of my images load? But one Tokyo woman found a way to get out of it. The woman bought a TV that had a filter that blocked NHK, thus voiding the contract under the clause that states that, quote, when there is no way to receive broadcast, such as by having no television, the contract is no longer necessary. But the NHK refused to accept the end of that contract, and so the woman decided to take them to court. The NHK argued that the woman would be able to watch NHK if she used tools to attach a signal boosting device to her television, and thus she should still have to pay the fee. However, the presiding judge in the case, Judge Ritsuko Ogawa, said that if she can't get NHK without a booster, then she has no contractual obligation to pay. She didn't alter the television herself, and a woman without specialized knowledge wouldn't be able to restore the signal. It's a landmark win against the organization, who seems to win every court battle against anti-NHK proponents. This ruling is especially notable because in a similar case where a man installed a device to block NHK himself, the NHK won by claiming the man could uninstall the device himself at any time. But in this case, the woman bought the TV with the device installed, albeit with the intention to block NHK, and had no knowledge of how to uninstall it. So the ruling ended up in her favor. I like the idea that there's going to be TV companies in Japan where people buy TVs, block NHK, and then sell the TVs on like
to each other,
the used market. Yeah, like. So the woman seems to have found one pretty airtight way to get around or out of paying the NHK broadcasting fee. But one must wonder if she really won, when she probably spent a good amount of money on court fees just to get out of paying a few $100s per year. Well, that doesn't matter, as the leader of the Protect the Nation from the NHK party, Takashi Tachibana, would say, it's the principle of the matter that counts. All right. Well, good for you. Hopefully the BBC will get blocked by the same stuff. Anyway, so that's it for news.
So when are we going to do Welcome to the NHK?
Yeah.
I have it. It's sitting right here.
I mean, we keep talking about NHK. We should do freaking Welcome to the NHK eventually.
Yeah.
This was one of those sets where you buy it and you buy the art box and the whole thing is in it. And then you sell back your $600 copy you bought of Volume 6. All right. So I've got Watamote right here. I liked episodes 7 and 8, and the rest of it wasn't that good.
I'm going to duck out.
He has no taste.
I'm going to duck out because I did not watch it. So we're doing Goblin.
Okay.
So
Goblin Slayer.
What are we doing next week?
So if we have a podcast next week, I probably won't be there because my anniversary and all that, and the incident that I didn't even talk to you guys about has made it so I have to work.
So
so if we have one, we want to talk about Goblin
Yeah, you would
Slayer.
not be talking about Goblin Slayer. So
would you guys want to do a movie or something?
Sure. What kind of movie would be?
John Wick.
Do you have nice short walk on girl?
Crap, I don't know if I do. I don't think I do.
I know Augie does.
Yeah. I've even seen it in theater.
Do I have to watch Tatami Galaxy first?
Not really.
No.
It's like you took the characters from it, but there's no connection to it.
Yeah.
So if you watch, what's that M word? Metropolis, you should be able to watch this just fine.
But I didn't watch Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah. You guys can
screw the rules, just watch the movie.
We can figure that out.
You don't have to. Okay, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I just want to get through this because
I'm just saying, have a filler conversation if we do the podcast next week.
Audience, Seb, you have any movies you want to watch?
I'll say this before we move on. So Seb essentially said, I hated the beginning of the game, but by the end of the game, I liked the game. It has some great parts and some bad writing. It drags on for far too long, and there are too many flashbacks in the game. It requires 100 gigabytes to install. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't sound like you like the game.
Probably.
That's the thing with all of
He was talking about Miss Pac-Man, which he's playing while listening to the podcast.
He brought that up when talking about the sake.
I know. I figured that out.
Catch Me If You Can Japan edition. How about Millennium Actress?
I do have that one.
Augie, do you have Millennium Actress?
I have Millennium Actress. Did that one get a redub?
Yes, it did.
Wait, hold on. Do I have that, or am I on crack?
I know you have the DVD of it.
I have the DVD of it, but I'm not sure.
I bought one of the Satoshi Kon films recently, I think. Oh, we can think of it. I can always order it if we don't. But yeah, to conclude my thought is that the people that talk about The Last of Us 2 who clearly don't like it always end up not saying explicitly that they don't like it. It's like, oh yeah, it was still good, I liked it, and then they go on like, oh, it was such a drag, the combat got so repetitive and the story was god awful and they ruined everything by insert spoiler here, killing insert character here. It's like, dude, you didn't like it, or you just like, in denial because you really like the first game. But I don't know, man. I don't know if you just regularly sell your games, but that doesn't sound like a good sign if you sold it. But yeah, anyway, that's just an observation I've made in general. Like all these people on YouTube making their reviews where they say so many negative things about it, but then they're like, yeah, but I still liked it. It's like,
done.
Hey, you guys can do very private lesson if you want.
I don't know that yet.
I guess I'm the only one that's watched it or not watched it that has it. All right, Watamote, are we done with that game?
I didn't bring it up. Seb says he regularly sells his games. Okay, so yeah, my wife didn't want to finish it. Go ahead.
Bye.
Thank you for being here. My wife didn't want. She was done with the first 2 episodes. I didn't hate it, but like it was not spectacular until the episode with the voice actor, which the irony of which was just way too funny for me, that Monica Rial voiced Tomoko. And then the episode after that where she has to appear like a slut for her little cousin.
Yeah,
with the vacuum.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny.
Oh, and I guess maybe the part with the vibrator she won after buying the Boys Love game. But that was my wife and I were both really uncomfortable with that.
Really?
Because my daughter was sleeping between us in the bed when we were watching that part. Anyway, but yeah, I thought that the bit with the vacuum was really funny because of how not even close, even the way they drew it when she sucked on her own arm and it was clearly like lip shaped or whatever, and then like she just had these rings all over her, and her mom came in, and then the part with the voice actor was funny because of the bit with the where she was plugged into the headphone jack and the microphone jack instead of the headphone jack.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me with Family Guy one time. My friend's girlfriend, this was like, we were probably like 14. She taped a whole bunch of episodes of it for him. And then he gave me the tape later because I had never watched the show. And I tried to put it on while playing Monster Rancher, and I put it in my parents' VHS player, and I was plugged into the headphone slot, and I could hear it just fine without realizing it was playing out of the speakers as well. And my mom's like, "What the hell are you watching?"
Anyway, for Watamote, what I liked about the show, which you glanced briefly on it, AC, is pretty much this girl is socially awkward and has not had a chance to really communicate too much in high school so far. So it covers all the embarrassing moments that maybe you or others have
Before
experienced.
I forget, touching base on that communication thing, that in the first episode, she like sets up that arrangement where she's going to talk to her brother, and then they don't have her talk to her brother like pretty much at all, except for like what they did with that was it's like that little itty bitty moment at the end of the episode where the episode preview happens. That's her talking to her brother about the next episode, and then the very last episode comes and she's like, "Well, these talks have been great." And I'm like, "What talks?" Oh, I totally forgot. 9 minutes. Something I'm bidding on eBay is about to go. Hold on.
Okay, well, you go on about that.
Well, I've been outbid. I think I already bought it.
I don't know what you're buying.
I pushed somebody up to paying full price for it.
So I like the fact that she's socially awkward and the relatable bits. However, she's not hateful or anything. She wants to be a loving girl. She's not. She's not. She kind of reminds me of a modern Lydia Deeds, if you will.
So the thing about Watamote, I think someone said this recently before. It's like,
no, I want what you said, not someone else said. I want your opinion.
What?
Your opinion, FDDM.
Somebody else crystallized his opinion better than he could, so he's about to tell us what they said and then expand on it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm more or less saying this because I agree with it. That this is a show that is such an interesting niche, I guess you could say, that you're either really uncomfortable by the show and don't like it because of that, or you really like it because it's so uncomfortable.
Because you relate to it.
Yeah.
So the thing I didn't like about it,
so extreme that you can't relate to them, like the broom and I'm getting raped, like, and then, or that's not a broom, that whatever it was.
That was Bokuto.
Yeah. So
the thing that I kind of like, I was just tired of in the first couple episodes, and it just never stopped, is that it constantly is referencing other anime, and it's like, I don't mind if a show is going to be a parody show like Excel Saga, where it's constantly referencing other shows, but if the show itself couldn't stand up without that, then it's kind of like it's using it as a crutch, and I felt like this was using a lot of that as a crutch, and it kept referencing the same shows. You know, like it referenced Haruhi like 8 times. Yeah. So, and then like they it was all, you know, the KyoAni stuff like Haruhi and Kaon and all that. And it just like, it was kind of irritating and annoying because it's like, I would rather watch those shows than watch this right now for a lot of it. And I thought that the character was like, because the character has what's called a flat arc. They don't grow at all. Right?
I think that was the problem I had with the show when I first watched it, is that you didn't get a sense of like her actually progressing out of her bubble, because at the very end, I rewatched 9 of the episodes. I didn't get to the last 3, but at the end, I remember specifically like it was teetering on the edge of her about to like improve herself. Like, was it getting a new friend or something? But then she just has a breakdown and essentially just turns into a giant mess. And I'm like, okay, great. So yeah, I feel like the thing I was missing in the show was a sense of like her actually getting better, like getting an actual like another friend or anything really.
Yeah, and she just kept getting more degenerate, like where she was pretty much ready to like rape her best friend or whatever.
I wouldn't call that rape, but
now don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it.
I was using the Monica Rial terminology of the word.
Okay.
I did enjoy the unique aspect that isn't really like, it really dove deep into the antisocial whatever character.
I guess.
I agree.
Like I won't say that it wasn't like getting repetitive or anything, but it's like that's the whole show, and it's a black comedy. That's kind of the point to watch her degrading herself and being a complete dumbass. But like really all it was majorly missing was, like I said, the
resolution.
But I mean, I think it has its place, and I enjoyed at least most of it for what it was, even if some of the things weren't spectacular. But I still had a decent time for it.
Watching the continual downward spiral of this character, I hope they make another season where she's just cooking meth as her.
Oh my God.
Like if they just go on Breaking Bad
at all.
Like if they I'm saying if they parody. If they take the parody away from anime and she just goes full on into like other shows where the characters spiral downward into like despair, and she's like cooking meth and she's like the leader of the drug gang, that could be funny.
It was almost just funny watching
later on. She does get
there's an OVA for this too that's not on the disc. I noticed.
Oh
shit. Well, anyway, like the raunchy comedies, so this one was right up my alley. So
what do you call it? The lens flare thing that in every single shot that got a little old.
Oh yeah, what about the opening? It's one of the few openings I'll actually watch before the episodes because it was just so good.
The opening works with the visuals. If you take the visuals away, for me, it kind of I can't repeatedly watch it or listen to it in a loop. The endings, however, I can just enjoy.
The endings didn't really care, but then again, that's more of a stylistic thing for me.
Yeah, but obviously the reason you liked the opening is because you're one of those weird types of people who's into that kind of music.
Wow, that is like
you like bands that have those logos you can't read.
That is the most.
You're into country, aren't you?
How do I put it? One of the most closed-minded ways to describe that. It's called "I'm into metal," but the thing is, it sounded like a typical metalcore song, but like it had its peaks in the song. So I'm like, okay, cool. For the clean vocals, I mean, it wasn't just for some reason, a lot of the J-pop just blends together, and the singing is just like the same like 3 notes over and over, and it's like, okay, cool. You don't like have any dynamics, but also like I just really like the guitar work, but that's more of a guitarist thing than a style thing, I guess you could say. But I also just like, because it's such an extreme was it a juxtaposition of the actual show itself being so mundane and lame to this over the top, like we have extreme music and she's like they're representing
it kind of seemed like it was
her being chained down and like
it kind of seemed like they're doing the same thing as Agretsuko.
What?
I haven't watched it, but it seemed like that's what they were doing with the opening, that she was like really repressing her inner self when she's in public.
Not entirely sure about that, but I mean, yes, I think so. The thing about Agretsuko is like a completely different thing, but yes.
Yeah, no, I know it's a completely different thing, but I'm just saying I felt like that's what the purpose of the theme song being the way it was. I also love how she liked those abusive, like, boys love, like
she likes the bad
or whatever there.
Yeah.
I feel like the opening was more about her, how she thinks of what's around her than what was really there. If you want,
I only watched the
her
opening
delusional steps, delusional mindset.
To say to Seb, if you don't mind me interjecting, he says Parasite has the worst metal intro. I think the band is called Fear and Loathing in Vegas, and I agree because it has Cancer auto-tune in it, which.
But have you heard the Baki Child Prey song?
That's rap. That's not metal.
That is not rap.
Are you talking about the Funimation release?
I'm talking about the Funimation ending for the one Child Prey.
I definitely have not. But
that is absolutely screamo. And you can't do rap where the only thing you say all the time is child prey, child prey, child prey. Oh. That's not rap.
R. Kelly can pull it off.
Well,
Enough.
I mean,
Enough.
if
with that.
Baki ever comes in print again, I can watch the ending, I guess.
I mean, you couldn't just watch it on YouTube.
No, I can't. Totally can't. But yeah, so I guess back to Watamote. If there isn't really anything else to say,
I can say a bit more, but
like the black comedy elements I did like, because it's kind of the point that you're just watching her just digging a hole of misery, but you also have to have like a bit of that payoff, getting somewhere at least, even if it's one step forward, two steps back, whatever. It's more like two steps backwards though half the time, without even a step forward.
I would recommend it because it does dive into like a life of another type of high schooler that doesn't get highlighted as often.
Yeah, the one that shoots up his
I don't know what the hell he said, but I like the shoujo element that it tries to portray because she is trying. You do see her trying, even though things doesn't work out for her. Like,
cringe.
yeah, you cringe all you want.
I cringe because she
Well,
thought
actually,
she was like a hot piece of ass the whole time. Her hair was disgusting. Everything about her was disgusting. She had bags under her eyes in every single scene.
That's the other black comedy part about it, cringe. Like there was a lot of moments that induced cringe in me. I'm like, God, that would be embarrassing. But that's the polarizing bit. It's either you watch that and you like feel so uncomfortable that you don't want to watch it, or you thrive in it because you're like, oh, representation, diversity. No.
I don't know where the diversing is, but it made me feel sorry for the character, and I wanted her to succeed.
Right. So you're completely in your right to thrive in that. I'm just saying that that's the part that some people would either really like or really find pretty uncomfortable.
I kind of like the contrast here between dark and light,
the lighting. So I would recommend. I think
put on your disco thing. You could make the contrast even more.
Too bright right now.
I think people should give it watch it once because it's got its own little thing. But if you don't if you're not very comfortable with the style of show, if you don't really feel it, then I wouldn't recommend watching it. So
I'd say it's worth knowing going in that a couple of episodes, like midway through, are actually going to be it'll pick up a little bit more. Like if it's not gripping you. But so the thing about me, I went in with pretty low expectations, but it still didn't quite meet them. I don't know why. I just expected it to be a different show, I just expected it to be something different. I kind of felt like going into it I had an idea of what the show was going to be. Because all the light novel style titles for shows, I just you kind of get a general idea of what the gist is going to be, and then this one just had no redeeming arc for the character at all, and there was also no consequences largely at the end of it, except for she should be embarrassed, but she's not by the end of it,
So the other thing that I forgot to mention that I mentioned on Twitter was the whole production qualities. Silverlink miraculously, it's weird. It's like when Silverlink started out, they made native 1080p shows, and as they go on, they have every new show that I've seen by them seems to be in 720p. I do not get it. And it's the same director as well. I think Silverlink is built up from former Shaft employees. So maybe Shaft had this precedent they set at the time the guy left, that they made stuff in 1080p native and all that. So that's how the guy was starting out at Silverlink. So, and then later on, he's like, why do native 1080 when we can be cheap? And I don't know. That's my best conclusion of that. But yeah, it's miraculous how Baka and Test, Watamote, all these shows have much nicer production than, say, Death March to the Parallel World, which is one of their newest ones. But also the animation quality, there was a lot more ambitious angles, and even just recreating the Death Note sequence was looked good.
They did that one Terraformers thing with the cockroach too, and they did like everything was CG except for her, and that stood out like really bad for a while. But I still at least appreciated that they tried it, But yeah, they were decent in their parodying skills. Like they were able to recreate angles and stuff from other shows well enough that it was that you could immediately tell what they were doing, So I guess there's some benefit there, but I felt like
the same era that they made C3. I can't remember. Did it have janky animation, or was that one actually like better than I remember?
Oh, it didn't stand out.
Writing.
Oh, I'm tired. It didn't stand out much.
Similar for me for this show would be like Bimuganiga, or another variant of Orange Butt right over there.
It was like Chunibyo without any redeeming arc, or like the character just keeps getting worse. And there's no love interest because the character is undesirable.
Well, I thought that guy who gave her the umbrella would be blossoming into the
that
but then
didn't quite happen. Oh no, the guy who liked her was her brother in the home movie.
Oh god.
God, cringe.
So it's like Digimon, where the best ship is the incest, right?
You're the expert.
No, don't you know? Hosoda canonly was making that like the implication in the one episode that he directed of Digimon.
I'm not familiar. I haven't seen Digimon in a long time.
Well, they censored that in the English. Well, I wouldn't say censored. They just changed the way that it came off, but that's kind of funny. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. I wish that Silverlink would make anime like this more.
It's weird they made it for Square Enix.
Really?
I like this.
Yeah, on the back it says
Square Enix
published by Square Enix for serialized on Gangan Online.
Yeah.
Oh, Square Enix is the manga publisher, I guess?
Publisher, yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah. It's weird to think of Square Enix publishing manga that's not tied to one of their games. I could understand Dragon Quest manga anime being Square Enix, but
Well, Full Metal Alchemist was part Square Enix as well.
Was it?
Yeah. I kind of wish for season 2 for this, just so it can dive more deeper into what happens later in the manga.
I wouldn't mind. See if they actually give her a sense of progression.
It'd be nice if they did it just to get that OVA.
And just not much of one, but she was much kinder to her brother at the end, and she did try newer things, which
I feel like it was her brother that wasn't so kind to her.
Maybe.
I mean, he was never really that mean.
That entire relationship she had with him was completely self-serving. I
Technically,
don't know what you guys are talking about.
Relationship to the student council president, I think, because that one episode when they did the school fair, and she did try a little bit, but looked depressed the whole time. The student president took time out of her day to get in the stuffed animal to get her a balloon and a hug, which made her day.
Oh, the thing that the Tanuki they kept calling a bear.
I forgot. It's either a bear or a rabbit.
No, they kept calling it a bear, and it was like, that's like one of those weird bear dog thingies.
I loved that scene where was it a flashback when they were a kid or something? It's like, oh, it's $4 for that, and you see the 400 yen on the frickin' machine. Or whatever it is. It's like, yep, $4. I get why they translate it that way, but it's just funny.
All right, so y'all want to wrap up the episode?
Yes.
Yep.
I was hoping that Reese would hang out so that I could say my piece and leave, but he didn't, so I got to be here because I'm tired. All right, so next podcast, let me find Goblin Slayer. Should be back here. No.
It's a shame that Goblin Slayer doesn't have Doom's soundtrack.
Next time we're going to be watching Goblin Slayer, unless there's a special around July 9th.
I just hope my wife likes Goblin Slayer because.
Did you know that the
Why don't you
guy?
guys watch Dread?
Dread.
Did I tell you guys about how the guy who voices Goblin Slayer is the guy who did mocap for Doom?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's hilarious. I think you did tell us
it's
that.
too perfect of a coincidence.
So
the
I want to show you. I want to show you a meme I found. You know the scene in Predator where Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger grab their hands and go, "You son of a bitch!" Right?
Yeah.
You know that meme? Hold on.
Where they're flexing.
Yeah, here it is. Somebody took that picture and expanded it. There you go.
Ooh la la. Ah.
Being too angry to die. Doom Guy, Goblin Slayer, and Judge Dredd. And they had to like take a copy of Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
I thought that was great. And on that note, yeah, so thank you guys for being there, audience, Seb. Because I had a not so good week that involved head injuries at work and my car blew up. So it's not been fun. But thank you guys for being there, and I will catch you guys next time. I will probably take next week off. I was planning to take this week off, but because of the car blowing up, I have to work my anniversary week now. Just like Christmas and birthday and every other fucking thing that's happened in the last couple months. So I'm going to take next week off so that I can spend my actual day off not doing this, or it's more specifically the articles. That's the taxing part, but instead spend it with my wife. So anyway, guys, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Just stay tuned on the groups and all that, and you'll, I'm sure you'll get notified by Reese or somebody. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Laters.